From today, we are discussing about a new topic or a new module called accounts receivable, which is also a major module in the perspective of business because lot all the sales related transactions are mostly surpassed through the accounts receivable module. Maybe the invoices created for the customers as well as the sales orders and the sales order invoices or the service related invoices for the customers would usually be in the accounts receivable module, and the payments related to the customers or the are settled parallelly with the invoices that are created against the vendors. And then parallel to the accounts receivable module, I mean the earlier steps to accounts receivable module were like creation of customer agreements or other supply chain activities of customers. So that is handled in the sales and marketing module in Dynamics. So we are only discussing about accounts receivable module since as far as finance is confined, accounts receivable fall into the finance. And apart from this, after you create invoices and the collections are pending, so in order to collect the amount from the customers, there is also another module called as credit and collections, which is an extension module to accounts receivable, in which you have different plans or strategies that you can maintain for the collections of amounts from customers. So that also in a organized way in an ERP or in Dynamics, you can work on those modules as well. So initially we'll discuss about this module accounts receivable and see what all we can understand. And later on, if time supports, we'll also look into the overview of other modules that we have and that I just said now. Okay. So on the accounts receivable side, we have a cycle called as O2C. So what is O2C? Anybody have any idea? So just like P2P on the accounts payable side, purchase, procure to pay or purchase to pay. On the accounts receivable side also we have a cycle. Order to cash means fulfilling the orders or taking the orders of customers, fulfilling them and collecting cash from them. So that's what it indicates, order to cash. So what is order to cash and what are the steps involved in the order to cash process or the cycle? So in interview also they might ask you this question. Mostly they will concentrate on P2P cycle, but sometimes they will also ask you on the order to cash cycle as well. So let's see what is order to cash up to and what are the different steps involved in order to cash. Okay. So you can also call it as I was saying, O2C cycle. Sorry. You can just say O2C. Anything will work, O2C or O2C. So the first step in the O2C process is of sales quotation or prospectus. So normally if customers request us for quotations saying we want to buy so and so goods from you, so please send a quotation. What you will do, you will generate a sales quotation for those goods. You will add some kind of charges and discounts and taxes that you are going to levy, and accordingly you will send the quotation to the customer. So customer will go through the quotation and he will place the order if he is interested. So sales quotation doesn't really have, there is a document called a sales quotation, but it doesn't really affect any financials because it's just a representation of our sales strategy or the offer that we hold on some particular products, which we are going to present it to the customers. So this will be done in sales and marketing module actually. So we'll also see that how to create sales quotation and all. And prospectus is generally kind of, display of offer, you can say. So it's not only for one customer, for a group of customers you can share a prospectus saying that see we are offering this much, we are having this much of discount or low prices on the goods that we are going to sell. If you are interested you can come and buy it normally. But sales quotation is generally raised against a particular customer. Prospectus is for, you can say the prospectus is for a bunch of customers or a group or to the entire market if you want to release a prospectus about your sales. or your offers on the sales of your products. So once on creating the quotations, you will send the sales quotations to the customers. So once after you creating the sales quotation, the next is that you will send the sales quotations to the customers usually. So what customers do? Customers either will confirm the quotation or cancel the quotation, or says that we don't need such goods, we are getting at low price in the market, or we are not planning to buy any now. They can say a lot of reasons. They can deny the offer that you have given. They will, or sometimes they will accept the offer that you have given and they'll confirm the quotation. So then what happens if the customer confirms the quotation? Customer confirms the quotation and says that he need that goods at the same prices that we have mentioned. So what we can do is we can create a sales order then. Since he's agreed with the goods, he agreed with the purchase of goods from us, so we'll create sales order for the customer. So once after sales order is created, you can receive any advance receipts if you want to. Advance receipts from customers. Example like 10% amount is a prepayment from the customer, or advance amounts that you can receive from the customers. Then once you have created a sales order and then you also have received some advance amount from the customer, you will deliver the goods to the customers. So that would be the next step, delivery of goods. So in this situation, we'll post packing slip. Post packing slip in the system, just like we post the product receipt on the accounts payable side. And when on the time of delivery of goods from us to the customer, we'll post a packing slip indicating the or booking an accrual entry, as well as indicating inventory is moving out of our company to the customer place. Once after goods delivery is done and the packing slip is posted, you will generate and post a sales invoice, send it to customer. So once after you deliver the goods to the customer's warehouse location or the delivery location, you will generate and post a sales invoice and send it to the customer. Then what happens is you will receive payment against the invoice from the customer. So once after you generate an invoice and send it to customer, customer will make a payment to your invoice, or the goods for the goods that you have delivered, and you will receive the payment. Then of invoice to payments or payments to invoice, whatever, you will settle them. Now on the other side, if you have any goods that you has to, if the customer is returning any goods to you, since the goods are not in a correct position or they're not interested, so you'll create a credit note, or you also have another concept here called as returned order. We'll see both of them. Returned order, and then you also have refunds in case if you want to refund any amount to the customers. So these are the steps involved in the completion of a O2C cycle. Generally, it starts from the creation of sales quotation until the settlements, and in case if there are any returns, that's an additional step. Customers will return the goods and you will send new goods, or you will refund their amount. So that will be involved here. So it's a simple process normally, just like what happens on the other side when you order any goods from any e-commerce website. Normally what happens will be given here. So since we have completed this one, so we'd look into the other concepts of what we have to discuss. So in accounts receivable, just like in accounts payable, we have different methods of payment, cash discount codes, charges, terms of payments, and other setups as well. Let's see them actually. So I'll just take you to the Reliance legal entity. So we have the concept of payment days, payment setups here. You can see. So in accounts receivable. So most of these configurations are same as accounts payable. Suppose if I go to this payment days here under payment setup in accounts receivable. So the payment days that we have created in the accounts payable are reflecting here. So it's a common page for accounts payable and accounts receivable. Whatever you create there in the payment days in the accounts payable, it is the same common page for accounts receivable as well. Or if you create anything here, you can also use that in the accounts payable module. So that page is a common page in both the modules, or the payment days is a common configuration. You can also configure the required configurations or the related to the accounts receivable here. So that, I mean, again, they are available in the payment days page in the accounts payable also. Actually, there is not required for 2 times configuration. If at all you need another day to be configured, you can create and configure another payment day here. Otherwise, it's the same, common. There is nothing special on the accounts receivable side with the payment days. Okay. Then we also have the payment schedules, terms of payments, everything. The payment schedules also will be the one and the same. See, the one that you created in the accounts payable side are available in the accounts receivable. I mean, the same options. And so generally, you can create your own payment schedules for your customers if you want to. You can click on new and create payment schedules as you require. And the options are one and the same again from the accounts payable to accounts receivable. There's no change. Then we have terms of payment. Suppose if you go to terms of payment, here also all of them are available. It's a common page again. So no, net 30 days, net 3 months, net 5 days, current month plus 10 days, current quarter plus 10 days, cash on delivery. Or if you have any this one, fixed quantity 3 months cycle payment schedule directly applied. So accordingly you have the same whatever you have created in the accounts payable, all that you have here in the accounts receivable available here. If you want to create anything new, you can create, no problem. Nothing to change in this. Then cash discount codes is one we have here in the same under payment setup only in accounts receivable. So cash discount codes is also the same. So you see the cash discount codes being reflecting as that we have created in the accounts payable. It is also a common base. We have already given 2 accounts, one for customer discounts and one for vendor discounts earlier when we created cash discount codes. So already the customer discount main account is in place. So whenever you use this discount codes, so automatically this account is considered for the customer discounts, because customer discounts is a loss or expense for us. So we have created an expense account and given it here. Vendor cash discounts are revenues, so we have created a 4 series account and assigned it here. So we have seen how this account is being picked during the cash discount application, and we'll also see it on the customer side once after we apply the same. Okay, then the difference that we have is methods of payments. Actually, this one, methods of payment, as you can see here. So this methods of payment, you don't have the same as account payable actually. So on the accounts receivable side, there can be change in the methods of payments, right? So you might pay to your vendors in different formats and you will receive from your customers in other formats. There can be common payment methods also like checks and cash, but it's not usual. There can be difference. So this is not a shared page or a common page from accounts payable to accounts receivable. The methods of payment for customers has to be configured again separately. So you might have different conditions. So you can configure accordingly. So you can create new. You can also create a check method of payment on the customer side. Call it as check receipts. Since you received the checks, you can keep the payment status as none or sent or received actually. You can change it manually to received during the payment journal creation, which we will see in the later part of, in the next classes of the course. And account type as bank account. Bank transaction type you can give as check receipts. It's somewhere here. Transaction number 4. And you can give, export format is not required since it is a customer check. You are receiving the check, right? So you don't have to export any check or print any check. You will just record the check with the check number. So we'll see how we will do it in the further. Then we have bank transaction type is mandatory. You can give this payment controls if you want to. Deposit slip is mandatory. So I'll show you how we can generate a deposit slip for a posted check transaction or any customer payment transaction. So this is one method of payment that I created, and I can create one more as cash on delivery. Cash on delivery. Payment status, you can keep it as none only and keep it as save. For the check, I think you would have given this as check here. Okay. So that's how you can also give a payment account for cash and payments. Normally, you can take this cash account into place. And what else we have? You can create many. You can also create a post-dated check transaction. Post-dated check. Customers can give payment status as received and payment type as check only. Then give bank. Then select the bank account into which you are receiving the post-dated checks. Bank transaction type. You can select the PDC. Bridging posting, yes. Post-dated check clearing posting, yes. The bridging account is PDC customers. As you can see here, it is automatically taking from the cash and bank management parameters where you have given this main account for customer post-dated check clearing. So that's being taken here. So just like how the post-dated checks work on the vendor side, it will also work on the customer side. Here, customers will issue us the post-dated checks. We will receive the check, but we will not affect the bank account, or the transaction that we record will be not debiting the bank account. It will debit the PDC customer's account, post-dated check account, and later on when we deposit the check in the bank and if it clears and if it deposits the money into our bank account, then we will clear this bridging transaction, or this account will be reversed and bank account will be debited. So when we receive customer payment, that is the entry rate, customer will be credited and our bank account will be debited. So that's what happens in the PDC. We'll see also the application of PDC in the customer payment and one or two customer payment journals. And what else we have? So we can create as many as we want, like UPI or anything else on the customer side. So I will just stop it until here, either check or post-dated check. So that's how we can create methods of payment. So it's the common setup again. Not common setup, but the configurations are one and the same. But on the customer methods of payment, we generally do not export anything or print any details, because you will all anyway receive documents from the customers like checks or any notes or any acknowledgements from their side only. We will keep them as a representation, or you will print. If the customer is sending you a check, you can take the photo of a check and keep it with you, or you can take a Xerox copy of a check and keep it with you as a reference. It's up to you. Then what else we have? So let us go into charges. Yeah, regarding charges, we'll discuss further once we create some sales orders. I'll explain you how charges will work in on the customer side. So charges are not a common setup, because on the customer side you will have different charges, right? That is vendor related charges where you have to pay to the vendors or the third party vendors. But coming to customers, it's slightly different. You will receive from the customers, or you might have to pay to the third party vendors again. So little different. Then we have customer groups and customer posting profiles, or customers also you can create. Let's see how we can do that. So just like vendor groups, we have customer groups in system. We can categorize your customers according to the nature of the customers, like wholesale customers, retail customers, or direct walk-in customers, or store customers, something like that. You can, according to the business that you have, you can create your customer groups, or you can also create it like domestic customers and international customers, up to you. In the accounts receivable, under setup, I have customer groups. So in order to create customer groups, I have to navigate to accounts receivable, setup, and customer groups here. Click on customer groups. So it's an empty form here. We can create customer groups. So I'll just click on new, give a number for this. You can give it like this, call it as domestic customers. Can give a default terms of payment for them. For domestic customers, if you are giving only 5 days of time, you can give net 5 days. You can also give time between invoice due date and payment date if you are giving any grace time. Then you can also create a default write-off reason if you have to write off the amount of customers. So what is the meaning of write-off, guys? Anybody have any idea what is write-off? Waiving off the amounts that they have to pay. Suppose that there is a customer who owes us something like 5 lakhs. He's not paying the money. He became insolvent. Suppose you legally proceeded, but since he became insolvent, you cannot do anything. You can't recover money from him. So you will write off the amount as a bad debt, right? So for such domestic customers, if you have any such kind of situation where you have to write off, what would be the default write off reason code you can assign here as a, you can give that reason code. So you can go to view details here. We'll show you in the end of accounts receivable how you can write off the amounts of customers. Click on view details. Here actually it is taken to receivable parameters. Reason code requirements for transaction reversals. Okay, it's not here. In the collections we have, here we have write-off journal. First we have to give this write-off journal. We can create one daily journal as a write-off journal with the journal type daily only, and we can assign here. After that we can give a default write-off reason code here so that it will automatically reflect there. So this process actually we will proceed, we'll see further in the course how to write off a customer balance. When we arrive at the point, I'll explain you how this can be configured and assigned. For now, we'll just leave it as it is. Default reason code. So you can give a default tax group for the group of customers. So whenever you create any customer and link the domestic group, domestic customers group, automatically this default tax group will populate on that customer's master record. If you want to change it, you can change it, no problem. That's how. So this one is prices include sales tax. So it's like if all the time prices come up, or the prices that you charge always include sales tax, or they exclude the sales tax, means prices are separate and sales tax calculation is separate on the invoices. You can mention using this one. You can create one more group like 02 international or foreign customers, like anything. Can give them net terms of payment as net 30 days, suppose. You can save it. So we have created two, domestic and international. It's not always like domestic and international. You can have different set of customers. Suppose if it is a hospital industry, customers are your patients. So you can categorize your customers or patients in different way, referred patients or direct walk-in patients. Like, yeah, you can say like insurance patients or non-insurance patients, anyway, or customers in any way. Normally in another manufacturing industry. Suppose if you are selling goods to a wholesaler, so it's a wholesale customer. If you are selling it to a retailer, a retail customer. Or if you are directly selling the goods, also directly selling the goods to a end consumer, so you can create them as a direct customer. They are groups like direct customer group, retail group, wholesale group, like that. So it again depends on the nature of the business and the way they want to, the way the client want to pres- uh, divide their customers as or represent their customer groups as. Then after creating customer groups, the next agenda of ours would be creation of customers. So we can create a customer in our company as well. Let's see how we can create a customer. So we can go to accounts receivable, customers and all customers for creation of customers here. Accounts receivable, customers and all customers. Click on all customers. Just like the way you have created vendor master and vendor records, you can create customers also. Loading this form is taking some time. So you can see here, it's an empty page. Before that, what I'll do is I'll just change the number sequence for the customer's creation so that I'll have my unique number sequence. So it will have a common number sequence. So if I have to change the number sequence, guys, which page I have to go? Parameters in any module. So in accounts receivable also we have parameters. So parameters are always under setup, as I told you. Here it is. Accounts receivable parameters. So you have number sequences here as well. In this you have customer account is the first number sequence, this one. Click on this and it will open the number sequence code. So it is having Reliance common segment. Actually Reliance 000001 is the common one we have. So I'll just remove this one, company name, and I'll give the constant value as customer. I'll just give it as US customer and keep it as continuous. The next number would be 1 and I'll save this number sequence. So I just changed the format to customer and 6 numbers. Okay. And then I'll go back and I'll just close this one. I'll save the parameters and close the form as well. Now I'll go here to the all customers page and I can create a customer. I'll click on new. It's not mandatory that you have to follow the number sequence. Some people will number the customers according to their groups. But here, as you see, customer number is taken automatically. Customer 000001. You can give the name to a customer if you have a name of the customer. Suggest a name, guys, for the customer. Let's create a customer. Any catchy name? Okay, let's say DMart. So customer group, you can create it as a foreign international customer or a domestic customer, up to you. I'll just give it as a domestic customer. Then net 5 days is the terms of payment. As you can see, currency is populating here, US dollar. If you want to change it to a foreign currency, you can change it, but that you can do for an international customer if you want to. Then you can give the address and further details of the customer. In the initial page itself, you have the basic important details of the customers. So delivery terms, if you have any mode of delivery, if you have created any, in which mode you normally deliver the goods to the customer. Default sales tax group, tax exempt number, then source code. Source code means this from where you normally get the source of like source means the lead, how from where you will get the lead of sales from this customer. Then you can give the addresses. postal code, street name and details. You can create. So up to you. If you want to give it for USA, you can give, or if other states, will come back to the addresses point again. And you can give the phone number, email addresses if you want to. It's not all mandatory. Only the mandatory fields would be the customer name, customer group, and then the currency. Then I'll save this customer. So now this customer is created DMart. So customer 000001, and you have lot of details just like the vendor master. You have multiple details under the customer master as well. So this is the general menu, addresses, contact information, other miscellaneous details, sales demographics, credit and collections, sales order defaults, payment defaults, financial dimensions, and related to warehouse and related to invoice and delivery, related to bill of lading and direct mandates. Let's see what are they up to. So in the general menu, we generally have this customer name, search name, then the customer group, then the classification group. If you require, you can create a classification group, classify the customers again into certain shorter groups if you want to classify. So customers of in bigger range or lesser range, you can give certain kind of classification if you want to. You can also classify the customers, and you can add one more group. This is a normal classification, just like subcategory. You can say within the domestic customers, you can also give a subcategory for the customer. The number of employees in that company, if it's not mandatory but optional field. Organization number, if they have any unique number. Then address of the customer, and here you can add the addresses of the customer. This is language, and here you can add the addresses of the customer. You can click on add. I'll just give it some name as DMart, suppose. I'll just give a the purpose of address, as you can see here: business address, delivery address. Business address means the address to which you will send the invoices to. Delivery address means the address to which you would normally deliver the goods. Customer will give you the delivery address to which place that they you have to deliver the goods to them. So accordingly, we'll create another address called delivery address. So then you can create other payment addresses if you want to payment address, or remit to address if you are refunding any amount to the customer. So mostly three important are business, delivery, and remit to addresses if you are making any payment to the customers, or if you are, you can also create payment actually. So this one also will know more or less the same like the remit to address. So I'll just give one here, just DMart, right? So DMart location, I'll just give 1-56 or 65. The DMart in Sanat Nagar, so I'll just give it as a name as Sanat Nagar, and I'll keep it as a primary address. So since the office is here itself in Sanat Nagar, I'll just keep it as a primary address and primary for the country or region. So I'll just create it as one. Okay. And they wanted us to deliver the goods to a storage point, which is somewhere near in Balkampet, let's say somewhere in SR Nagar. So they have another storage unit or a warehouse kind of thing where they normally store the goods. Or you say in Kukatpalli, they have some warehouse unit. So you can create one more address as a delivery address. So normally we will deliver the goods to that address only. So DMart warehouse, I can say. So the purpose of address is a delivery address. And you can say phase 9 HP colony, suppose. And I'll click on OK. So it's a delivery address. So what happens here is whenever you create a sales order for the purpose of delivery of goods to the customer, automatically this delivery address will be picked as the main address in the sales order. indicating that goods are being delivered to this particular address. You can also create multiple delivery addresses for the customer if you want to delivery 1, delivery 2, and many addresses, so that if accordingly to which address they want to deliver the goods, so and they want you to deliver the goods, you can deliver accordingly. So that's the point. Then you can add contact details of the customer if you want to any person contact details. You can say phone manager, or you can say procurement manager on the DMart who normally place the orders and buy the goods. His phone number, you can give any number. And if it is a primary contact, you can assign it as a primary contact. Or if you have any emails of the office, you can give the email address procurement@dmart.com. Something like that. If you want to assign any, you can assign. Anything will work. Then other miscellaneous details. If he is a one-time customer, you can also create a one-time customer. Normally, the customers with whom you normally does trade with only once. So if this is a one-time customer, normally, or if you create this customer code as the purpose of one-time customer, you can assign this as a one-time customer. Otherwise, not required. So statistics group, if you have any, you can create and assign. Account statement, you have this option of always. So means to generate an customer account statement always or on the basis of quarter, biannually, annually, or never. You have an option of generating customer statement. Actually, you can use this option of always only. Majorly this is used so that you can generate the customer statement anytime. Customer self-service. So this mostly fall into retail again. How customer self-service portal will work. I mean, there is an integration for this to work actually. So history available for all orders or only web orders. It will show you on the customer service self-service portal. Then government identification, any ID number of the customer, the country or region the customer is located in, again the state that they belong to, or the ID number is issued. Then you can also link a vendor account to a customer account. Actually, you can create the same customer as vendor in the accounts payable, and you can link that vendor account here, this place, so that whenever you have to generate a check, suppose let's say generation of a check, we don't have that option of generating the check in accounts receivable. So we only have the check generation option in vendor payment journal only. So if you want to make this customer a payment or a refund of amount through check payment, so you can only generate a check in the vendor payment journal. Otherwise, there is no option. So when you link a vendor to here, I mean, you can create a vendor in the accounts payable and link it here to the customer, so that if you want to make a payment to this customer, you can go to accounts payable and make payment to this particular vendor which is linked to the customer. Automatically the settlement will be done. So that's how this field, this is a powerful field. If you want to use, you can create the same customer as a vendor and you can link it here in the customer master, so that if you want to initiate any refunds to the customers, you can make a direct payment to the vendor which is linked to the customer here. So that's how in interviews they might cross question on you. If at all we might make a refund to the customer by issuing a check, how can we do that? So you can say this answer. You can create the same customer as a vendor and link the both customer and vendor accounts in the customer master, so that you can initiate a refund by or generate a check in the vendor payment journal for the vendor account that is linked to the customer. So that's how. Then automatic notification and cancellation exempt. So this should be for, I mean, I'm not sure about this one. This should be for the US only, automatic notification and cancellation exempt. Then federal attributes, the federal codes or non-federal and non-federal exemptions, if mostly specific to US, trading partner codes and agency location and 1099C indicators. So all of them are into um, US, I mean, localizations. Then you have the option of creating intercompany orders and direct delivery orders also. Intercompany orders and direct delivery orders are a situation where you can buy some goods from your own companies within this organization. Suppose this is Reliance Legal Entity, right? I also have some company in this organization as ADS, something like that. Suppose I have this company ABCD and ADS. So I can buy some goods from the other companies also. So you have to create that company as a vendor in our company so that we can directly buy procure goods from those that particular vendor which is linked to the other company. So this company is created as a customer in the ADS legal entity, and ADS is created as a vendor here in the Reliance legal entity, and you can buy some goods from them. So that's what we call as the intercompany orders. There is also an option called as direct delivery. Means suppose if you have decided to sell some goods to a customer, or there is an order from the customer that you want to deliver the goods to them, but you don't have such goods with you, but the goods are there with one of your sister company or a I mean subsidiary company in your organization only. So you can use this direct delivery option to directly indicate the other company to deliver the goods to the customer. So it will create multiple orders, like one sales order for the customer that you are going to sell the goods, and also create a purchase order to buy the goods from the other company within your organization, and also creates a sales order in the third part in the intercompany, means the other company in your organization which would deliver the goods to the customers. So that is normally looks like this. If I show you, so this is Reliance legal entity, right? You will create a sales order for customer one, let's say. Okay, but you don't have goods in your company to deliver to the customer one. So what you will do is you will buy the goods from this legal entity, ADS. So you'll buy goods from ADS legal entity, then you will deliver the goods to the customer, or you will directly buy goods from ADS and give the delivery address as customer address. So direct delivery, that is the thing. Delivery address as customer one address. And what happens is ADS will directly deliver the goods to the customer one, but they will book a sales order against you because they are selling goods to you. I mean the Reliance company, and but the delivery is done to customer only. So you will collect the money from customer and make the payment to ADS later. So what happens in Reliance is in Reliance automatically another purchase order is created for ADS since you are buying goods from ADS, and in ADS a sales order is created. Reliance indicating that they are selling goods to Reliance. So three orders are created automatically. When you create one order, automatically the purchase order will be created against ADS in the same company Reliance, and in the ADS a sales order will be created for Reliance, but the delivery of goods will be done to the customer address. That is what we call as direct delivery. So this is process is called intercompany direct delivery order processing. So this requires some huge setup to be done, but it's a very good process that if you want to use, we'll see if the time permits in our course, we'll discuss about this process, but do remember the chain, that's all. Or if I have any proper documentation for this, I'll share with you. So that's here. Those configurations related to intercompany orders or direct delivery orders are here. And you can create this one and enable this intercompany option, which you can do it again from the general menu. There is something called intercompany here. From here, you can enable this intercompany related transactions. Then we have another menu called as sales demographies. You can create primary contact and line of business. Line of business means is a wholesaler or retailer or pharma company or any other line of business you can create and assign here. So you can create it by going to view details. Most of these details are created in sales and marketing module or inventory modules, mostly in sales and marketing. Then you can also assign the employee responsible for this customer. So employee list in your company will show up, but it's not showing up here since I don't have any employees created in Reliance legal entity. But the employee in your company who is responsible for this customer, you can assign here. And segments and subsegments of business of the customer and company chain, if at all, if there is a chain for the customers sales district, and other notes, specific notes for the when we are selling goods to the customer, what are the key points that we have to keep in mind? You can add as a notes here. Then you have credit and collections. So you can keep a customer on hold here, invoice and delivery on hold. You can keep it here. You have the option. You can keep all the transactions of the customers on hold so that no transactions can be performed with the customer. You can only keep the invoices on hold. You can only keep the payments on hold, or you can invoicing and delivery on hold field. So payment is not valid, it is saying, because it's only for invoice and delivery. Or you may not keep the customer on hold at all. So you don't have the customer hold option here actually. Normally it used to be there here in the for the vendors, but for customers it is here. You can keep the customers on hold. For payments, you will not keep them on hold because payment means it's your money that you have to receive, right? How can you keep the customers on hold for payments? But usually they'll keep it on hold for invoices in case if you don't want to do any further invoices with the customers since they are not paying you the amount, or if there are any discrepancies. So you can keep them on hold temporarily or permanently. You can keep them on hold here. Then mandatory credit limit, you can enable the mandatory credit limit option and give a credit rating to the customer and a credit limit amount to the customer. Suppose if I say 1 lakh and if I'm exceeding a trade of 1 lakh with the customer, so it will stop me from posting further documents like invoices for the customers. You cannot post or create one post this documents or invoices for the customers. So when we have this credit limit option, and again this is guided by the parameters in the credit and collections module. There you see this credit limit related parameters and other further parameters of credit limit will be there. So you can either keep it mandatory or not required. It's up to you. Then here you have something like collections contact, who is the person who is for collections for to whom we have to contact. You can give the collections contact details here. Default right of reason, in case you are writing off the customer's pending balance, which is not going to pay, and if he became insolvent, you can write it off as a bad debt. Then exclude interest charges, exclude collection fees. You can, for every collection process that you followed, you can collect some collection fees from the customer, and you can also charge interest on the amounts that are pending from the customer from a long time. If he is not paying in the due date, you can start charging interest, and all this setup will be in credit and collections module. But if you want to exclude the customer from these interest charges and collection fees, you can enable this parameter. And you have certain options related to sales orders which mostly fall into supply chain, like charges group. You can create a charge group and assign to the customer. It's like for automatic charges on the customer side. And default site and warehouse you can assign. You have the site 1 and warehouse 11 and 22 we have created already. Then other details like for discounts and other groups. For payments you have few, like you can give default terms of payment, default methods of payment, and payment schedules if applicable, and payment days if required, cash discount code if you have any default cash discount applicable, 0.5%. Customer bank account, so you can create a customer bank account actually from here. Bank accounts, if you set up a bank account, you can see it here normally. Then default financial dimensions, if you want to assign any default financial dimensions for this customer like business unit, cost center, department, it's up to you, you can assign. Then this setup is related to warehouse and entirely into supply chain. This one for the invoice and delivery, you also have the option called as invoice account. As I told you, this will work in the same way like it works in the accounts payable, where parent and child relationship between multiple customers. You can create another customer and assign it as an invoice account here, so that that will be the main customer. Whatever is assigned in the invoice account is the main customer, and this will be a child customer or a subsidiary customer for that main customer. So if you do not assign anything here, normally this will be the main customer. Then you can assign a number sequence group if required. Then delivery terms can give mode of delivery and other delivery reasons, destination codes, and default sales tax groups. If any, you can assign default sales tax group and tax exempt number. Prices include sales tax. This is for specific for this customer. If you want to include sales tax in the prices itself, then it will, you can enable this one, or if you want to exclude, you can keep it as it is. Then others related to transportation, bill of lading. If at all you are using the bill of lading, you can, if not, not required. But for this, we have a separate module now for bill of lading. Lading module we have separately now created. And then direct debits, if any, and retail details, if at all this customer is into the retails, and you can link the retail module here with the, I mean, normally retail module is always linked to the mm, customers only, because you sell goods to the customers records only that you create, right? So that's how. For a finance functional consultant, you might have to understand the default finance related activities on the customer master. There will be many for the supply chain as well as for retail part, but for a finance functional consultant, you might look into the sales tax groups and the then the financial dimensions, cash discounts, and other related aspects. That's all. So other than that, you also have certain details like here in the customer menu, which we'll see further, like to check the customer balance, to check the customer transactions. So you'll somewhere have the customer transactions as well. It should be, is this customer transactions page? It should be here actually. Since you don't have any transactions, it is showing grayed out here, but we can see it. Then you can directly create a sales quotation, sales order from here, this page, or create a sales trade agreements for this customer or customer agreements. You can also create invoices from here directly. You can also make payment journals and collection letters from here for the customer automatically, or you can also create a write-off journal from here. Then other related to projects and service management for the customer, create service orders and all. Then market, if you are creating any campaigns and if this customer is applicable to one of the campaign and the offers, or if you want to link that marketing campaigns like mailings, call lists, and other campaigns, we can link it in the sales and marketing module. And retail, general, in case if you want to create any cases or activities against the customer and follow up on it, you can create them. Not only in the accounts receivable module, from the sales and marketing module also, you can create customers. So in sales and marketing, if I go to, so here I have the all customers option again. It is the same page. If you click on all customers, again, it will bring you to the same page. See here, the same one customer that you have created. It may be from sales and marketing module or from the accounts receivable module, anywhere you have the same. Then you can create one more customer if you want to. So customer number 2 is here. You can create this customer as Walmart. You can create this one as a international customer if you want to, and you can click on save. So there are 2 customer codes that are created now. We'll create few more tomorrow, and we'll also see further details of the customer creation. I mean, further details like customer posting profiles, which we would also configure tomorrow. Then we'll see how we can create some customer payments or free text invoices. So in the next class, we'll see how we can make customer payments first, and then we'll go to the free text invoices after configuring the posting profiles. So that would be all for today.